Welcome to the football show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin, Alan Ruff, Lee McCulloch and Alison McConnell here with me in the studio. Delighted that you could join us. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. You can join the football family, and if you download the PLZ Soccer app, you'll get all that breaking news at your fingertips. And here's what we're going to be talking about today.
Brendan Rodgers is amazed by the quick recovery of Daizen Maeda after it was thought that the Celtic winger's season was over. Philippe Clement points to Rangers' points haul over the last 6 months as a sign of progress since he replaced Michael Beale.
Everybody in the club would have signed for that 6 months ago, and nobody believed that would be possible.
Danny Armstrong reveals he's hopeful over a Scotland call-up despite having a conversation with Republic of Ireland chiefs after impressing for Kilmarnock this season.
I feel like I would bring something different to that squad if I was involved. I don't feel there's many like me out there that can offer something that I can offer.
Stephen Robinson says St Mirren won't be content with a top 6 finish as the Saints aim to sail European football for next season.
Now the sort of mood around the training ground isn't of right, we've done what we set out to do. We're now got to where we're starting out to achieve this European goal. And
yeah, lots to talk about, including, of course, later on in the programme we'll hear from Danny Armstrong. He's been talking exclusively to Alison McConnell, and that will be out at the start of next week on Sunday morning. You can see that exclusive interview with Danny talking about, obviously, international hopes and, of course, reflecting on a really good season for him at Kilmarnock and, of course, the club itself as well. So, that to look forward to. It's now after the split. Here's the fixtures. This is what we've got to look forward to now, top and bottom. Aberdeen against Motherwell, Kilmarnock against Hearts and Livingston against Ross County, St Johnstone against Hibs, St Mirren against Rangers and Dundee against Celtic. St Mirren, Rangers and Dundee Celtic on the Sunday. So that's what's on offer. That's what we're going to be discussing. But just out of curiosity, Ruffy, now that we've got everything settled and we know where they are, top and bottom, suddenly we're now getting ever closer to determining who is going to win this title, who is going to be in that playoff.
Yeah, you're not going to ask us, now, are you?
No, definitely not. Because you will change week on week.
Yeah, but if I was in the Rangers or Celtic camp, I'd be excited by what's up ahead. Obviously anxious as well. I think it's a big pressure time for both of them. You know, we all know by all accounts it's not done and dusted. I don't think the two of them are playing particularly well. The evidence is there to prove that. So the other teams that we know can make it difficult for you, particularly away from home. It'll be interesting to see how they come through these games.
Yeah, absolutely. And as well as Danny Armstrong, there's a lot of content we're throwing your way that hopefully you'll enjoy, because if it goes down to the wire, we could have yet again Lee McCulloch, another Helicopter Sunday. We've just finished our mini documentary. It's coming out a week on Sunday.
Amazing documentary.
I thought you might like it, but nevertheless, we've Kerry Pollock has managed to get 4 of the players all involved with each team that day, and it was a dramatic day. I think strangely enough, there's a lot of people involved in that day, not only on the pitch but often in broadcasting as well. And it was what gets people excited. It's what we want to see now, maybe happening this season again.
Yes, and it could still happen. There's a possibility it could still happen this season again. I think when you go back to last week with the two Old Firm, the semi-final for the two Old Firm teams, I don't think any of them played particularly well. Yeah. I think Rangers have obviously done well. It was a good scoreline that they've got through. Celtic going to penalties. 2 away games they've got this week domestically. I think the cup can be different than the league. Points, I'm changing from where I was 2 weeks ago when I says I don't think they'll drop points out with the Old Firm game. I think they possibly could now, because I think when you look at both squads, a little bit of nerves are kicking in for the way they performed last weekend in the cup.
Yeah.
That's what I believe. So I believe they'll drop points, but I still think it will come down to the Old Firm game.
You're changing.
I'm changing slightly.
Yeah, but I'm just going to say to you now, it's taking you till 5 weeks before the end of the season. Welcome to the team. and you've now...
I've realised that.
You've now adopted the roughie. And usually Tom McManus, you know, it's the change from one week to the next, and he's starting to fit in now, Ali, isn't he? You know, because you can't change your mind. But he did touch on something which you mentioned in the Journals programme earlier this week, which is quite simply, both of them are not playing great football. They could easily drop points in the other matches.
I think both look quite unconvincing. I think it's quite reminiscent of the year when Celtic stopped Rangers winning the 10 under Wim Jansen. I think it feels a wee bit like that they're just dragging themselves towards the finishing line. I think obviously Celtic still have the edge given where the league is, but I don't think that the league is over by any stretch just now. I think there's a significant amount of football to play, and I think it's very nervous for both teams. I think maybe a bit more nervous for those who are watching and supporting them. I think Rangers will have a hard game in Paisley on Sunday. I think Celtic will have a tough game at Dens Park on Sunday too, and I think obviously when you're playing at different times, there's an extra edge too. Rangers go into that game against St Mirren knowing that they've got an opportunity to put Celtic under a little bit of pressure, then Celtic going into the game knowing that Rangers have either banked points or slipped up, and then you have to go and do it as well. I think it just adds an extra frisson to an already frenetic end to the season.
Yeah, the other thing about it, which a lot of people, I mean, I'm not saying as a definitive that this is always the case, because there are some teams and players who might switch off, but if anything, Helicopter Sunday highlighted that, as well as the fans listening, to the radios to see what's happening. The other thing that was evident is quite simply, professional footballers are there to do a job, and anybody who was thinking to themselves, well, Motherwell are just not going to turn up, Celtic all they have to do is win the game. It's not as simple as that, because professional footballers go out there to win the game, and they don't want to be accused of taking their foot off the gas or showing a lack of professionalism.
No, I think that would be taking it too far. I think every professional, as you're saying, goes out with the intention to go and do the best for themselves and their family, therefore the team and the fans that they represent. I don't think that's ever really been a case. I think that you're obviously going to get throwaway comments, but no, I've never ever experienced that in my life.
Yeah, no. The one thing that I have experienced, Ruffy, from sitting in that gantry commentating, is the nerves that are shredded from fans who are listening and thinking, or in this case, for example, you have a situation, Celtic will kick off away to Dundee after Rangers have played against St Mirren, so suddenly you now know what's at stake.
Yeah, and it depends how the games go. Obviously, if Rangers were to drop points, then Celtic would begin into the game with the onus of, if we win this, we're going to go further ahead. So it can go either way. But I always think it's better to have the points. If Rangers were to win the game, then the pressure's back on Celtic to come up with the goods, because I think all these teams, the Dundees, the St Mirrens, the Kilmarnocks, the Hearts, they're all playing well. We're saying that Rangers and Celtic haven't got any consistency, but they're on a given day, any of these teams will take the two of them, particularly at home. So, like Alisson, I think there's twists and turns to come. So every time you play a game and you get the points, just tick it off and then move on to the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one little surprise that has emerged in the Celtic camp ahead of the game against Dundee is quite simply that Daizen Maeda spotted back at training. This is what Brendan Rodgers, of course, had to say about Maeda being back. The information we were given is that he was probably going to be out for the remainder of the season. He's responded so well, it never fails to amaze me in terms of his recovery and his overall physicality. He's getting nothing from the tendon issue he felt after the game. Quite remarkable. I mean, it goes, it just really confirms that what I've been thinking all along. He's a machine. I mean, that boy just defies belief. I mean, I genuinely would love to see his stats on running.
He heals as fast as he runs. I think Celtic will be delighted to have him back in. I think they missed him at Hampden. I think I think there's been a problem this term with the wide players and deliveries into the box, and I know that there's been a lot of criticism on Maeda on that front, but certainly I think his energy, his work rate, his industry are fundamental to how Celtic play, and I think if he's physically fit enough, he'll be straight back in. I think Brendan said it would probably be in the Heart squad next weekend. I think if he's fit, he goes straight back in.
He's one of those players, Ruffy. You know, the positives that we talk about. I mean, this is a classic, what I call Scottish James Tavernier conundrum. You know, if we were realistic about it, we'd look at James Tavernier for all the good things that he does. You know, and you look at Daizen Maeda. I mean, somebody said to me, if he could cross the ball and finish when he gets, you know, the amount of chances that he gets, he wouldn't be at Celtic.
No, I think you might be right there, you know, but if you're a full-back and you're confronted with somebody with that kind of pace, you know, it's always a problem, you know, because if it's a 1-to-1, you know he's going to beat you, but his quality is crossing, you know, it doesn't deliver at the standard that you would think it would be. It's just when you know the ball's going out to him, you think there's somebody with a remote control at the side just to make him go faster. Press that button, make him go faster. Yeah. Sometimes his legs go too fast for himself.
Well, Stephen Kennedy, who's watching on our YouTube channel, said Maeda coming back is a major boost for the running. I think he's half human, half robot. Remarkable recovery. Honestly, I genuinely, if somebody just took his face off and there was machinery behind you, I would not be surprised, Lee. He's incredible. I mean, the shift he puts in. Just out of curiosity, was there a player that you can think of that you played alongside and you thought to yourself, you know, his stats are outrageous?
No, as much as this guy, no. I think he's a great example for kids watching with his work ethic. He's never say die attitude. I think all the big games he turns up with something. I don't think he's the sort of winger that is going to hug the touchline and put crosses in the box. I think he prefers coming narrow and cutting inside and allowing Taylor, whoever it will be, to get round outside him and for them to get the crosses in. But he's brilliant for any young kids looking for the type of work ethic you need to go and make your mark. Then he epitomises everything.
Yeah, and the one thing that's crucial about this game that a lot of people will be absolutely aware of is the fact that, you know, Lee might have changed his position, but he's changing his position for the fact that maybe they're not playing well. There's injuries that the clubs are picking up, but suddenly you've got St Mirren and Dundee who are battling now, knowing that 5th place gets you a chance of Europe.
I think that's a huge incentive. I think also even last season, I think St Mirren felt a bit frustrated having got the top 6 place and then it fell away a wee bit. I think this season, having consolidated it again, there's a real emphasis and keenness to go one further. I think it's a long time since St Mirren last were able to offer European football to their supporters. I think it can be so crucial too when it comes to budgets in terms of being able to bring another player in or so over the summer. I think just for the energy, excitement it injects into the club, I think it definitely gives them a huge carrot between now and the end of the season. And also too, I think Stephen Robinson had spoke about a marquee result, about going out and claiming a big scalp. I think it'll be a tough afternoon for Rangers at St Mirren. You've seen it. You've seen what the club have tried to do in attempt in bringing in their own supporters and restricting the number of Rangers and Celtic fans that go into the ground, trying to keep their own support. It's a small ground. It's a fairly intense atmosphere, quite a tight pitch, and yeah, I think they've got everything to play for. And in a way, the pressure's all off them. They've got their top 6 place, but they know that there's still something to strive for.
And the flip side of that, Ruffy, is let's just say, for example, that Rangers win the game. St Mirren don't pick up any points. Suddenly, Tony Docherty's Dundee have got that huge incentive to say, listen, guys, here's the team talk. We're 2 points behind them. They've lost. Boom. We can go ahead of them.
Yeah, most definitely. And they'll have to play each other as well. You know, there's another 3 points up for grabs. Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting. I don't think St Mirren are playing as well as what they were before they get in the top 6. You know, obviously they're in there and they're happy they're in there. You know, but I think the players themselves, there'll be incentives as well. There'll be bonuses up for grabs. You know, for getting into Europe, for whatever they've got in their contracts, and so that'll be the added fight as well.
You love mentioning cash, Ruffy. See, since the day now I met you, you always highlight, well, there's got to be some shekels in it for something, don't you?
No, because I'm of the old when you'd be betting and you would be playing Celtic and is there a bonus, and they would say, yeah, there's a bonus, what is it? I will tell you. No, once you win the game, then you win the game and you get hee-haw.
See, like, you want it up front, don't you?
Ripped.
Still, good to know that you've let it go. Joe Shaughnessy is out for the rest of the season with a knee injury, which is a real blow for Tony Docherty. Tony Docherty himself has picked up 4 yellow cards, so he'll be in the stand. Interestingly enough, Dundee Alison have set to apply for planning permission to build a new training ground at the Riverside in the city, which is fantastic. The one thing about Dundee, if they get their new stadium, great, we can say goodbye to the pitch and they won't be getting slaughtered towards the end of a season in the winter. But they seem to be showing a fair bit of ambition.
Riverside seems a bit ironic, but yes.
Yes.
No, I think I think they need the new stadium. I think you'd have to be honest and say I think Dens Park has probably had its day. I think a bit of ambition looking to go and move to the new stadium, and I think it would probably just take the club onto a more modern platform. And I think we've all seen the problems that have dogged that pitch over the last few months. I think you want to be taking everyone into as modern a facility as possible. I think it's better for the game in terms of the aesthetic of it, but also too, I think for players going to play in it, you want the best surfaces, you want to showcase the game in the most positive light possible.
It's also, Ruffy, as we can testify to, I think it's one of the coldest stadiums in Scotland. And I don't know if you remember, the other thing about it was when we were commentating that day, it was, I can't remember if it was Dundee were trying to fend off some kind of relegation, and they were keeping their eye on another.
Mackies.
Yeah?
It was Hamilton Mackies.
Hamilton Mackies. And the other thing I remember about that day, there's 2 things that stick in my mind specifically at Dens Park. 3 maybe. 1, it's freezing. I mean, it's just the coldest stand ever. So that was the first thing. 2, the guy in front of us had clearly bought a 32 waist, but he was a 38 waist. So all we had was this builder's bum facing us in the commentary. And then the third one was, you said goodbye to us at half-time because you needed a quick number 1. And you didn't tell anybody that you were wearing an all-in-one long johns that you couldn't get off.
No
so you joined us 15 minutes into the second half of the commentary.
Quite true, yeah. It was very alarming when I get down there. Obviously, there's quite a lot of other people in that toilet, but fortunately, I got it off in time.
Yeah, sure you did. That's what I remember about Dens Park. Prediction?
Well, I was telling Lee that our old pal Hugh McDonald drew a stat up that it's, did I say, 35 years
That's what he said, 36.
since Celtic have been beaten at Dens Park.
But how does he know that?
That is a belter.
How does he know that?
Well, he knows it because he's taken it off someone else.
No, because
No.
I was the Celtic goalkeeper that day.
Is that right? Are you?
Dundee won 1-0.
Who scored?
Oh, go and see if you can guess.
Listen, what year was that?
Centenary year, 88.
So 88, and somebody scored to beat in 1988.
Last time Dundee have beat Celtic.
Is it a well-known player?
Yeah,
Is it a defender or an attacker?
a centre forward. I could give you another clue that you'll probably get it.
Well, hold on a second. 1988, was it Tommy Coyne? Was it?
Was it?
Oh, come on, Ali. Come on, Ali. That's good going, isn't it?
Well, can you name the 3 forwards for Celtic?
Andy Walker, Frank McAvenny.
It was McAnair and Andy Walker, and the third one, the third striker. Well, that's a shout, isn't it?
Mark McGee.
Mark was on the part, but there was another
Winger?
winger.
Joe Miller.
Joe Miller?
Joe Miller. Yeah, there you are. Good shout, Ruffy. So you let
You don't get the Celtic centre half. Oh, you definitely no get this one.
It's a
There's
Celtic,
no way.
a Celtic centre half who played
the
that
bear.
day.
Roy Aitken.
No, Roy was in midfield. You'll not get that. If you get this,
Anton Rogan?
Anton was playing fullback.
Was it Lex Bailey?
Lex Bailey. Really?
Come on, Lee. Come on.
Well, he's in our position, we'll get that as well.
Lee, could you name the crowd? Anyway, what's your prediction?
Dundee done well against Rangers. I think Celtic have got too much up front, and I think they'll win 2-0.
Okay, at Dens Park.
Yes.
Okay, I think it might be tighter, Ruffy. 2-1.
2-1 for me. Celtic.
2-1. I think it'll be tight as well. And I think it'll be nervous for Celtic because they struggle to protect a 1-goal lead.
Yeah, earlier in the day, St Mirren against Rangers, a win obviously puts them level. I think this is I think it's a good position because suddenly psychologically we always look for those little edges where something's going to go in their favour. Yeah,
anything.
And this is a chance to crank it up, isn't it?
It is, but it's not easy. It's not an easy game. I think the Old Firm find it difficult going to St Mirren. Rangers have not been in blistering form, although they went through last weekend. It wasn't free-flowing.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Because usually you get an escape fit in the cup. The cups just seems to be different. It's at Hampden, different venue. I just thought both Old Firm were pretty poor, to be brutally honest with you. I wouldn't really call it nerves. Maybe just bad day last weekend, but this game for Rangers is vitally important to put pressure on Celtic, obviously, to get another 3 points. And you've made a great point there. If they go and beat St Mirren, it gives Dundee a bit of a lifeline, which then therefore should make it a little bit harder for Celtic. So it's just a must-win game, basically, for Rangers. But there's a few players out. And there's no sign of Minnie coming back. See my important goal scorer. I think he's out for the game, so it'll be tight. Again, it'll be tight. It'll be very much like the Celtic game for me.
Yeah, Patrick Mullen was out there to get the thoughts of the Rangers manager.
Rangers are preparing to take on St Mirren this Sunday in what is set to be the start of, well, a crucial run-in to the end of the season for their boss, Philippe Clement. It's his first taste of the split, and it's fair to say he is full of praise for the format.
It's exciting. It's nice also. I think for all the fans to have the best team competing with each other. It creates an extra tension. I think you guys like that also. So I come out of a country where they make a crazier system, what I didn't like.
Rangers find themselves 3 points behind title rivals Celtic. There are still 5 games to go, and according to Philippe Clement, everyone in this building would have taken the points position they're in now when he entered 6 months ago.
If we look back in the last 6 months, when we are working here together, then we are the team who took the most points. We took 4 points more than Celtic in that period. If you look to only games in the Premiership against Premiership teams, then it's even more, because we won also the Cup final and we won against Hearts and they had to draw against Aberdeen. So I think everybody in the club would have signed for that 6 months ago, and nobody believed that would be possible. It's now repeating that again. It's not a guarantee, it's nothing, but it's something they've proven already.
It's Stephen Robinson's St Mirren versus Philippe Clement's Rangers. It kicks off at the Smythe Stadium on Sunday afternoon, and PLZ Soccer will be there live, keeping you up to date.
Okay, Alison, if I was to explain the Belgian playoff system and who wins the league, it is the most ridiculous situation ever. You would need a set of lawyers to explain to you. I mean, if the fans are not going to the Belgian league and thinking, I really don't know what's happening, let's just settle down and get absolutely bladdered, because it's so complex, it's unbelievable. So I can understand where Philippe Clement, he just likes the excitement of the way this is all panning out.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's exciting for everyone involved in it, for neutrals too, but I think I suspect that he and Celtic would also like it to be a wee bit less exciting, with a bit more of a cushion. I took his point. I think he's right to say that Rangers never anticipated being in a title race when he went in. They were 7 points behind when he took over from Michael Beale. To all observers, it seemed as though it was a straightforward procession for Celtic towards a title. It's not played out that way, largely because Rangers were very consistent. Celtic seemed to stutter a bit. And it'll be interesting now just to see how obviously it plays out. I think Celtic have got the bit between their teeth. Again, they've been a bit more consistent, but you'd have to say, like, while you take his point, I think you're in danger of starting to make it sound a bit woolly when you're talking about points and you know, count up the points from cup wins and stuff. Ultimately, the only thing that's going to matter is what the league table looks like at the end.
Yeah, and for the benefit of people who obviously like to know the intricacies of these things, Ruffy, I thought I'd explain it to yourself. There's playoffs 1 and playoffs 2 in Belgium, and according to the position in the regular season, playoffs 1 are contested by the top 6 clubs in the regular season, and they'll play each other twice. The teams finishing 15th and 16th are relegated directly. However, the 14th place team plays a relegation playoff against the 3rd place team of the Challenger Pro League. So that clears it all up for us.
It's pretty straightforward, that, is it not?
Yeah, you think of the first number you thought of and then just take your age away from it, Ruffy, and that's the champions. St Mirren, suddenly, they've got an edge. They're 2 points ahead of Dundee, so they've got a battle on their hands, and they certainly, as Ruffy mentioned, maybe not in the form that got them into the top 6, but let's find out what Stephen Robinson thinks with Blair Malloy.
With summer on the horizon, the Scottish Premiership split is once again upon us, and St Mirren, well, they find themselves in the top 6 for the 2nd consecutive year. And manager Stephen Robinson says it's this time of the year when his season just gets started.
Well, I think last season was a little bit of a monkey off your back, but it was so long before we were in it that it was maybe subconsciously to people it was, right, okay, we've done what we set out to do. This season we set out to get top 6. But within the dressing room, we set out to get Europe, because you're always looking to better, you're always looking to be better than you were last season. So now the sort of mood around the training ground isn't of, right, we've done what we set out to do. We're now got to where we're starting out to achieve this European goal, and we're at the start of this now with these 5 games, so to speak. And as I say, we're very much looking forward to that challenge.
It's title-chasing Rangers who visit the Smiza Stadium this weekend, and Robinson admits he's taking nothing for granted, despite Philippe Clement's men coming into this one winless in the last 3 league games.
Yeah, they lost 1 game, so I'm not sure how tough a spell that was. I've been in tougher spells myself, I have to say. But look, I'm not under any illusions. Rangers are a very good side, as I've repeated, with a very good manager. They've proved that over the course of the season. Because they lost 1 game certainly does not make them a bad side. They come with an abundance of talent. They had a very good performance in the semi-final, and I expect them to come all guns blazing, and we have to match that. We have to believe that we will get a result against them, which I firmly believe we can.
Can St Mirren throw a spanner in the works of Rangers' title ambitions? Find out this Sunday at 12:30.
Yeah, I think we need to have a word with Blair, Ruffy, because the last thing you can do is wear trendy shirts which could bring a bit of ridicule from us, because we really can't afford shirts like the one he's wearing.
Yeah, it's nice that he's looking really well.
Sun's up there, so you put in the shorts. Not belong for wearing the shorts.
Absolutely, that's enough.
Sunglasses would have just
set it off completely.
Set his look right off.
Absolutely. And of course the other thing is a set of ladders so he can get into the training ground in the first place, with the big spiky bit behind him. But nevertheless, he's done a good job for us setting it all up nicely, Ali. So with that in mind, is there going to be an upset?
I don't think so. I think Rangers know they can't afford another slip. I think they'll come through. I think they'll win the game. I don't think it'll be comfortable. I think St Mirren will make it awkward for them. I think it'll be close. I think the odd goal, I think it'll be 1-0, 2-1. But I think they'll prevail purely because they have to.
Yeah, I'm going 2-1 again, Lee.
So am I.
Yeah.
2-1 to Rangers, yeah.
I'm going to go a comfortable 2-0 Rangers.
Well, a comfortable 2-0.
I think St Mirren have had their year.
Oh, that's it. Okay. So if anybody was thinking of going out in Paisley tonight, don't bother. There's no real point in enjoying yourself in that area. Ruffy's just completely and utterly kicked you out into left field, eh? Are you speaking in the Paisley area in the next couple of weeks?
No, at all.
No, I thought that. Okay.
St Mirren dinner done.
Yeah, exactly. Livingston against Ross County does have something at stake. This is a biggie. Livingston will officially, sadly, be relegated this weekend if they lose to Ross County. They're sitting 12 points behind County, 5 games left, and I think David Martindale's been trying to put a brave face on it forever and a day, Ruffy.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a Livingston player, you're fighting for your life, you're fighting for your livelihood, for your family and everything, because they'll all know what, David Martindale keeps telling us that the budget that he's on is less than everybody else. That means the wages, the players aren't getting particularly well paid compared to everybody else. So if they go or drop into the Championship, it's going to be worse. So I think the majority of them who are going to be there next year will be fighting for a new contract. So I think they will put a good shift in. I think that Livingston are that kind of team that the players do that. But I just think Ross County, you know, with the result against Rangers, they've got to go there, you know, in a good mood with the forwards in good form.
Yeah, well, we had on Monday, Lee, Ryan McGowan in from St Johnstone, and it's just, it's that kind of a cutthroat nature now of hoping that one of your strikers can suddenly hit a wee bit of form in the matches that matter, and Ross County equally so. You just wonder about the motivation for, if anything, the motivation for Livingston players is getting a move elsewhere. 15 players, David Martindale reckons, will move on in the summer.
15?
15.
If they do the near impossible and stay up, brilliant, I can't see it, but if they go down and it's a rebuild of that number, that's a difficult league to win, even if you're strong. But if you're coming down and it's a complete rebuild, they might find it difficult. I think David has got a lot of thinking to do if they do get beat tomorrow. Ross County, good up front, got goals in them, but something telling me that Livingston are going to win this 1-0. I don't know.
Yeah, strange one. That would be a twist in it. Ross County just a point behind St Johnstone in 10th. Ruffy, I was having breakfast in Glasgow this morning. I didn't want to tell you this, but you know, 'cause I don't like to tell you my movements too much. But I was having breakfast in Glasgow, and one of the people who walked in to have a bit of breakfast, I'm not telling tales out of school, I can mention this, can I? Derek Adams.
Wow.
And obviously, you know, he maybe had the chance to try and save County. Didn't quite work out. Don Cowie's still there. If he gets them away, he could get the job on a permanent basis.
Yeah, I mean, he comes over well, doesn't he? He speaks well. You know, I think he's a local boy, you know, that you can see why they bought into it. You know, the players seem to be actually reacting to him, obviously with the result against Rangers, but he'll know that he's got to win a few of the games, you know, to make it really, really safe.
Yeah, I think he'll get it. I think
so too. I thought they played well. They've played well across recent weeks. They'd played well before that Rangers game. Obviously, the Rangers result's a huge shot in the arm for their chances of staying up. But I thought the last 4 or 5 games before it, you could just see signs. I think they'll win tomorrow. I think Livingston will go down. I think they'll win. I think they'll beat Livingston, and I'm not sure if they'll stave off the being dragged down into the playoffs. But I think, like you, I think he's done enough to get the job.
Yeah,
there's only a point behind St Johnstone, though.
Yeah.
So if they win that tomorrow, and they
Johnstone have got Hibs tomorrow,
and if he pulls it, he's shooting in for me to get the job. Especially if he beats that playoff position.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's of course the big one is when St Johnstone and Ross County go head to head. So that's the key.
Where is that?
Here. That's a good point. Actually, I've written it down somewhere. Have I written it down? I'll tell you right now because I've got it right in front of me. So shut up, Ruffy, and wait till I get to it. Yeah, he does that all the time. But I
didn't actually mean to do that.
Well, there it's there.
Really sorry,
it's the 15th of May, St Johnstone, Ross County.
St Johnstone at home.
Yeah. So and
last game.
Well, it's the second last game. So suddenly you're in a situation when the last game is Ross County at home to Aberdeen and St Johnstone are away to Motherwell. So it's the second last game, so I knew I had it somewhere because I thought somebody was going to ask that question. So it's massive for them. I think it's going to be tight. I think if anything, I can see a draw in this game, just because it's a rotten park. You know, I mean, I think David Martindale and the Livingston boys. I don't like relegation's painful because I always think about people losing their jobs, but I'll not miss the pitch.
No, I don't think most of the players, if they're really honest enough to admit it, you know, that they're not. Some of them are comfortable on it, but I would think the majority would rather play in grass. But it's just the way they are. They'll just have to put up with it. It isn't good on the eye. It's just horrendous.
Yeah. What's your prediction?
I'm going to go Ross County win 2-1.
I'm going to draw.
Livingston 1-0. Sticking with it.
Livingston 1-0.
I think Ross County 1-0.
Okay, you can give us your predictions as ever. We always like to hear what you've got to say on these matters. On a Friday, because it's live, remember, if you are posting something on our YouTube feed, try and keep it nice and sensible. We try and get the majority of fans from right across the whole of the Premier League, and there's a lot of people who tune in, maybe catch it up later on as well. Thank you for your support. It's absolutely magnificent, the amount of people who have been watching our content and enjoying it as well. And of course, up there in Dingwall, Ruffy, we've got specific fans who hang on your every word.
Yes, the Staggy. What's the first name again?
Jan
the Staggy.
Yep.
Always sends us a wee birthday card.
That's nice.
Has any gifts or anything like that?
If she has, I'm certainly not telling you. I'm just keeping them in storage at the moment.
Right.
But nevertheless, yeah.
No, she has said if we're ever back up there again,
yeah,
you know, that to pop in.
Yep, absolutely. And
Nice to be nice.
That's exactly it. That's one great thing about yourself. Any residence where you don't have to pay is always appealing. Kilmarnock against Hearts. Killy sit fourth. They're 8 points clear of fifth place St Mirren. And we're talking about, you know, managers who will get a mention, Lee. Derek McInnes is certainly one man I'm looking forward to. Interestingly enough, we've got a one-to-one with Derek in our Straight Talk coming up.
Have you?
Yep, and
I was with him start of the week.
Yeah.
Lovely guy. Lovely guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Is he in the running? Does he get a
For me,
nomination?
100%, yes.
Yeah.
He's got to be. I think he's all but secured fourth place. What would they need? One more win maybe, if St Mirren get beat.
Yeah.
Difficult game for them at Hearts. I think Hearts have sort of going to be. They've secured third really as well, so it's. I don't see Hearts really playing with a bit of fire.
Remember, points mean finance.
Yeah.
You'll know that more than anybody.
Of course.
You know?
I think Hearts are already there though. I just can't see them giving up that third place. Kilmarnock have still to cross the line and get the fourth place, so I can see it being tight, but I don't know, I fancy Kilmarnock. I fancy Kilmarnock to get 3 points actually.
Yeah, no surprise that Derek's assistant Paul Sheeran, who was speaking to the assembled members of the press, reckons his gaffer is well worthy of a nomination for Manager of the Year.
Definitely. The gaffer continually between Aberdeen and now has built squads season after season to compete at the top level in the Scottish Premier League, and I think he's proven that again this season, so I'd be surprised if he wasn't recognised at some stage.
I don't know about you, Ali, if you can remember, but I thought Paul Sheeran was a really good player to watch. They've got a really good bit of experience with that management team down there, because I know Derek would say it's the collective, it's not just about him. But no surprise that he's backing Derek to get a nomination.
No, not at all, and I think he's well worthy of it. We've spoken about it before, about what it entails to go and be the Manager of the Year. It's not always about what you're expected to do in terms of maybe delivering a title or what your budget would lead you towards, but maybe just punching above your weight a wee bit, about surpassing the expectation that's on you. And I think you would have to say very few people, given where Kilmarnock were this time 12 months ago, I don't think anyone would have fancied them being in fourth spot. In fact, I think when people talked about them being in top six, you might have raised an eyebrow.
Yeah, I think the nominees will come out on Monday by PFA Scotland, and I think we'll get a look at not only Manager of the Year, but the Player and Young Player of the Year as well. That's Monday, and we'll discuss that on the show. Interestingly enough, one of the players who's been shining for Kilmarnock is Danny Armstrong, and he met up with Alison McConnell, and it's I'm really looking forward to it. It's released on Sunday. Ruffy, Alison McConnell meets. It's the new feature where she's just going to go around and chat to players, not taking any nonsense from them, just sitting down and grilling them.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward for that one. You know, it'll be really interesting to see what he's got. We're going to get a clip of anything? Are we getting a wee...
Ruffy, it would be remiss of me not to mention the fact that, you know, Alison, as ever, being the great journalist that she is, obviously asked Danny Armstrong about his international ambitions, because, you know, he's still young enough and certainly he's got something to offer, not only Scotland but possibly Ireland. So it could be first come, first served. This is what Danny had to say to Alison.
It is an ambition of mine. As you see players in that squad, they're a very, very talented squad. They've got some big players. I feel like I could I would bring something different to that squad if I was involved. I don't feel there's many like me out there that can offer something that I can offer. And it's, you never know. It's, as I say, I would absolutely love it. I've not had any conversations with Scotland. I've had a couple of conversations with people in the Irish setup. It's because I qualify for that as well.
So it's one of those situations where I've got to ask you, where does he feel as if he'd be happy if Steve Clarke gave him a call up? Because we see him on that right flank.
I think he'd be delighted. I think he feels as though he's merited his chance across not just this season but possibly last season too. Been fairly consistent across both campaigns. 26 at a good age for it. I think you see just now the headache that Scotland have got on that right hand side. I think it's a position he plays a right wing back or right winger. There's a couple of friendly games coming up. I think he'd be worth a look.
Lee?
I agree. I think he'd be worth a look in the friendly games. I don't see him going to the Euros. I don't see him playing wing back in the Euros. The formation Scotland have been playing and Steve Clarke's been playing, it's a difficult one to fit his type of player in as an out-and-out winger cutting inside. He has played wing back both sides this season. I don't see him doing that in international football.
Yeah, the other big dilemma we've got, Ruffy, is whether the injured players in that right fullback, come in. I do think if we don't get the players that we're looking for to get back, if Hickey doesn't make it, don't think Patterson's going to make it, you're suddenly looking and saying, will he maybe look to a Max Johnson? Will he maybe go back to somebody that he's called on before?
No, I don't think he will. I think he's set in that five in midfield with the wing backs. I certainly think he's always a player, that kind of player I like seeing in a Scotland jersey, particularly at home. I was going to throw it out there. When was the last time we had a winger? An out winger playing for Scotland?
Is that not
an out winger?
A winger, just a winger.
Forrest?
Not how would you call it? A wing back.
Yeah.
I just mean a winger.
Forrest.
That's the last one. That's the only one I can think of. I can't think anymore.
James McFadden class as a winger? Or striker?
No, I think he was more number 10, maybe.
Just out of curiosity, you can't even class him at the 6 aside, so what chance have we got?
Can I get near him at the 6 aside?
He's just outrageous.
I know.
I just think at our international level, I think it's a formation we don't seem to want to play. We just want to play with no wing backs. It's
a strange situation. It's a good point you make, Ruffy, because when you think about it, when you think about Lee the Great, I read Patrick Bartley's book on Sir Matt Busby, and he built it with wingers. And when you think of the Man United side, Fergie's side was all about wingers. It was all about delivery. The game's changed. Wingers are a rare breed, aren't they?
No, wingers are, depending on your formation, the fullbacks. The fullbacks are wingers. Wingers are now playing inside now as slightly wide 10s, as we're calling them. So the trend of formation has changed. I would quite like to see Scotland go to a back four and play a four with maybe another, whatever you want to say, 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2, whatever you want to. I would like to see them go back four because of their injuries and get more pressure up the pitch, more pressure on the ball up the pitch.
They've always been famed though for that stacking that middle of the park, haven't they?
The most important part of the area though, of the pitch and the game. I think you look at Hibs' turnaround is when he changed the formation. He was like, I'm only playing two in the middle of the pitch. Going to Ibrox, going to Celtic Park, only playing two. He changed it and went three and slightly improved. That's the most important part of the pitch for me.
Another conundrum that people have as well, they say, like, let's say James Tavernier is a fullback and he gets forward, and does all his damage and that. Why is he not a wing back? Why? Surely if he's getting forward as much for a fullback position in a wing back position, you would think he'd be absolutely
Did they not try it? I'm sure Rangers played.
They have on a couple of
5-2 in Europe. And Lundstrom came back in and was at centre half, and he's went, and it was maybe Barisic who's went on the other side.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it wasn't as effective.
I know, but I know
I know
why that would be. when he gets into so many dangerous positions.
He likes coming later. I don't know.
Okay, they're coming up against Hearts. Is there a motivation? He's got a few injuries. Navanov, Halkett, Boyce and Haring are out of the game. But Hearts, I don't know. I mean, I thought they were going to turn up and say to themselves, "There's something to battle." And I thought I was very disappointed with them.
Yeah, I thought they were really toothless at Hampden on Sunday. I thought that there were glimpses maybe in the second half, and it was still just 1-0. There was a brief glimpse of coming out, but by that point, I think it was just too late. And then the more they pushed it and left space opened, that Rangers were able to exploit it. Yeah, I think Stephen Naismith will be disappointed with that. I think he would have been really keen to try and go and claim one of the cups this season. I think that's a huge measure of success. I think no one ever really anticipates that people will break Celtic and Rangers in terms of the league, given the financial gulf that exists. But I think a cup is a much more plausible return and a sign of progress. I think he'll be desperately disappointed with the performance. And also I think it makes it quite difficult. I know that there's money to be banked with points, but I think when third place is pretty much consolidated, it's hard not to just let the season fizzle out, just to keep it alive. Yeah. And I think if you'd had a cup final to look forward to, you'd have had people playing for places, there would have been an excitement around the club, there would have been an energy still there that I think is very difficult to manufacture.
Kelly 1-0.
Yep, I think Kilmarnock might sneak it.
My biggest observation is who's going to play in goal for Hearts. Because if Craig Gordon doesn't play in goals in the last 5 games, he's not going to the Euros.
Yeah, even with a 26-man squad.
Yeah, you can't take 4 goalkeepers.
Hugh McDonald said he thought they were going to take 4 goalkeepers.
Well, I thought the only get out would be goalkeeping coach. But that would mean the goalkeeping coach, who's there already, is going to get...
Who is the goalie coach? Stevie Wood?
I think it's Stevie Woods, yeah. That would be the get out for him going as the 4th goalkeeper, being the goalkeeping coach as well.
Yeah.
4th goalkeeper's never going to get anywhere near anything.
Yeah, you'd love to have gone to a World Cup or a Euros as the 4th goalkeeper, wouldn't you?
Most of it.
Yeah.
I was always one.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, Ruffy. We love you. We love your arrogance. What are you going for, Lee, in that one?
1-0 Kilmarnock.
Yep, okay. Aberdeen Motherwell. Here's something I don't often say, Ruffy. Aberdeen were really good in that game. I genuinely thought there was one moment in that game, or maybe even 2, when I thought this is there for them.
Yeah, I think there was moments in the game Celtic got away with it. The one where Cameron Vickers stopped it on the line with his leg. That could have went in. The boy was through as well. I mean, there were chances. I mean, if the Aberdeen manager, you're just going to be saying, can I get 2 in a row?
Yeah.
Can I get 2 performances in a row? And that's what we'll be hoping. I think they will. I think the confidence will be, although they'll be down for 2 or 3 days with no getting to the final, but I think there's enough there for them to go out winning ways, and I think they'll win it.
Okay, it's Aberdeen against Motherwell. There's all sorts of speculation now with every club that players are going to be going, leaving in the summer, going to other clubs. Feyenoord, the latest to be linked with Bojan Miovski. 24 goals, 48 appearances. It's been a great return for him, Ali. The only thing I would say, off the back of that game against Celtic, when Aberdeen really, played well, their first goal, which Miovski scored, was a joy in the build-up. If only we'd seen that from a long time ago. The only thing I would say is, I think a number of people said Jimmy Tillene might have been watching that thinking to himself, oh, there's potential there. There's a good squad to pick from. I'm being brutal. There's a clear out. There needs to be another clear out, because this squad has managed to get 4 managers the sack.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think the frustrating element for those Aberdeen fans who were at Hampden at the weekend would be, where was that spirit? Where was that character? Where was the energy? Where was the heart for so much of this season? And you have seen it in glimpses. They played well against Eintracht Frankfurt. They played well against Rangers at Ibrox. But it's been sporadic performances. They've never been able to knit it together in peace, a consistent run. In the chat in the aftermath from the players when we were down in the mix zone and you're interviewing people was, right, between now and the end of the season we want the same again, we demand the same of ourselves, and it's cheap talk's cheap, you know, it's easy to stand and say and preach about doing it, it's very difficult to go back out and replicate it. And obviously Hampden in a semi-final, and it's a different placing, there's a different energy around the game, but I think Aberdeen are auditioning now for their futures at the club, and I think there's no doubt that they'll be under a particular kind of scrutiny from a manager who'll be wanting to do his homework before going in to know what he has to do. No doubt in my mind that there'll be a clear out. I think it's inevitable, I think it's necessary, but there has been money spent on this Aberdeen squad, not just last summer, the summer before. It's about now investing it wisely and getting a proper tune out of them.
Yeah, whether Peter Leven has a part to play in it, only time will tell. He certainly hopes so.
No, I think that's just speculation. Listen, I'm committed to it. I've loved it here, and I'm happy to be part of it for next season. Doing okay. There's obviously room for improvement, and I'll always work on that. But as I said, I'm happy here. It's a great club, and hopefully the next 5 games can go well.
Be nice if he. I think he's certainly fitted in well after Neil Warnock.
He's steadied the ship for me. I think he's been brilliant. I've worked with him, so I know what he's like. I think he's a calming influence, especially in the big pressure games. He's so unlucky not to get to a cup final, to miss out in penalties. If there's a way to lose a game, that's probably the way you would want to lose it, regarding the last couple of performances that they've had. They've had such an up and down season. Peter's come in, got a tune at the players, but I agree with Alison. I think there's got to be a big clear out. What the problem could be is, and I've obviously not looked, if there's players in there on 2 and 3 year contracts, it's very, very difficult to get rid of these players. So that'll be up to the manager that comes in.
Okay, Motherwell unbeaten in 3, only 1 win, 2 draws. What do you think for this one?
2-0 Aberdeen.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big crowd there, and I think Aberdeen are going to win and keep their supporters happier for a wee while longer, and I'm going to go a comfortable 2-0.
Okay, comfortable 2-0.
I'm going to say 2-1.
Yeah, I'll go 2-1 with you, Ali, on that. Now that Ali is obviously taking over in a kind of a more senior position within the PLZ structure, Ruffy, it means that basically Alison is taking on a role similar to an old boss I had, and that's why I'm going to St Johnstone Hibs. I think everybody gets to pick their favourite game, and then Muggins here has to go to the back and beyond, you know. But when you're an old trooper, you just go and watch football, Ruffy.
Yeah, I think you'll get a good game. I think you will. I think both of them, I think Hibs have got something to prove to their supporters, that they are a good side, but as I was saying earlier, I think Tam McManus has already slaughtered half of them in the papers today.
Yeah, well, so, I'm glad you said that, because Tam has named 13 players who should be axed in the summer.
Tam has named the 13 players?
Yeah, that he thinks should be given the boot. So basically, if he turns up at Easter Road at any point before now and the end of the season, I think at least 11 of them will give him an absolute doing. Wallacott, I'd never heard of him basically in that first team. Boruc, Johnson, Miller. Fish is going to go back to his parent club anyway. Bashiri, Nectaris, Marcondes, which I find amazing that he's saying that. Maeda, Yuan, Tavares and Vente.
And David
Marshall. And David Marshall as well.
Big shout, that.
It is,
a big shout, yep. I think it is.
It's quite scathing, isn't it?
Yeah. Has Tam thought about getting into management? Has he been in management before? No, I'd like to see that. Well, I'm sure we would all like to see that.
He is coaching me.
Yeah, I know he's coaching, but
he's, you know, if he decides to start climbing the ladder and taking the problem, I think, is the A badge, which is about 13 grand. That's the big problem for him.
Well, it could perhaps be our own political diplomacy.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, to be fair to him, by the way, Ali, he sits in that chair and he doesn't shirk the responsibility of having a go. There's 13 players.
I think.
Is he right?
I think you would have to say he is. Marcondes is maybe one that I would have a question mark over. The rest of them, I think David Marshall has had a super career, a fantastic career. I think he might just feel as though he's coming to the end of it now. It's reaching a natural end. But like Aberdeen, I think Hibs need a massive clear out. They have underachieved hugely, not just this season, but across recent seasons. We've seen the way they've burned through managers too and burned through players. There is no question that a club of Hibs stature should be minimum in the top 6, and that's the minimum.
He's 39 now, Marsh. I don't think anybody can fault it if he says, right, enough's enough.
Oh no, you wouldn't fault him at all, but you also wouldn't fault him if he said, I fancy another year, because I think this year he has been, you know, exceptional. He's had his ups and downs like most goalkeepers do. But
exceptional?
I think in certain games he's won them points, which is always important.
Okay. What are you saying then? St Johnstone, Hibs?
Hibs 2-1.
Yeah, it would have been great there, Ruffy, if you said 3-0 St Johnstone. Marsh at fault for 2 of them.
Hibs need to finish 7th. I'm going to go Hibs 3-1.
Okay, St Johnstone haven't won in 7 home games. I think Hibs might edge this 2-1.
I think St Johnstone might get a point.
Right, okay.
I think they desperately need something. They're fighting for their lives. Craig Levein, hugely experienced manager, loves playing against Hibs. I think they might get a point.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a brief one on this. Buckie Thistle banned from the playoff. This came out as a press release over the last 24 hours. Basically because they don't have the required bronze level club licence. Now, this the Highland League winners would face the Lowland League, East Kilbride, in the first leg of the playoff. So basically, as Ruffy usually throws in this clanger, the bronze and the silver and the gold are the standards that you have to set from on the pitch, the facilities, the seats, everything that surrounds going to a game. You have to meet a certain standard, as you climb the leagues, or to get into the league in the first place.
Yeah, and I think the club will have been well aware of that long before they got to this position. I think it seems harsh though. I think you'd have to say if you earn your place through results, I think it'll stick in the craw.
Well, when you said that there, look at this is what they had to say on it. This is Buckie Thistle saying, we received an email from the SPFL stating that because the club did not comply with the bronze licence criteria and did not apply for a waiver or period of grace in respect of this non-compliance by the deadline of 31st of March 2024, there'll be no playoff between Buckie and East Kilbride. East Kilbride automatically go forward to the pyramid playoff tie with Club 42. However, we can confirm the club has been in regular contact with the SFA in regard to the bronze licence criteria items, and we were in fact asked by the SPL to ask for a period of grace for 4 of these items on Tuesday 23rd of April, which we duly did. So clearly they're well peeved with this, and there's a case to answer.
Yeah, I think they went on to say they were stunned and devastated by the decision, as you would expect, particularly if it came out the blue, as it seems to have done for them. I think the sensible thing to do is to negotiate what they've got to put in place before the season starts and give them the next couple of months to do so.
Okay, last 2 items. First one here is obviously nominees for the lower leagues Player of the Year. Our man Blair Malloy has been following it.
As the regular season comes to a close, it's time for awards season in Scottish football, and here at the Hilton Hotel in Glasgow, the PFA Championship, League 1 and League 2 Player of the Year nominees have today been announced. Dundee United look set to finish top of the pile outside the Premiership this year, and forward Louis Moult, he says success means more after revealing he almost called time in his career after a series of serious injuries.
And a really frustrating time with injuries and a lot of stuff going on, but there was times where it was really tough, and I was thinking, am I done? Is this the end kind of thing? My body can't take it any longer. But I was trying to stay with it, and the wife helped me a lot, when I spoke to her, and I always if I could stay fit, I believed I could score the goals again. So I'll be honest, I'm delighted with my return.
Dundee United have been locked in a fierce title fight with Raith Rovers all season, and they're represented in the shortlist by forward Lewis Vaughan, who says it's almost a good thing that the title race is over and now they can focus solely on the playoffs and making their way to the top flight of Scottish football.
It probably doesn't sound great to say, but it's probably helped us now that the league's almost over, and we can concentrate on the playoffs. We've got 2 games left to try and get boys fit and ready for the playoffs.
As I said, we're confident and there's no reason why we can't go and achieve promotion to get the club to the Premier League.
Partick Thistle captain Brian Graham is also amongst the nominees this year. His 20 goals have seen the Jags in playoff contention as they look to return to the top flight. At 36, he says he's eager for one last crack at Premiership football before he calls time on his illustrious career.
Potentially get them up to the Premier League would be a big added plus for myself personally, but collectively as a team, like, we were so close last year, and from a personal point of view, like at my age, I would like another crack at the Premier League, of course I would, and if we can manage to do it this year with Partick Thistle, because they're a special club. I've been through quite a lot with them in a short period of time, and if I could manage to get them back to the Premiership, it would be absolutely fantastic.
Queen's Park have endured a difficult campaign this year, but Rudy Payton also makes the list after his 21 goals. The Spiders changed manager halfway through the campaign, with Callum Davison coming in for Robin Veldman, and Payton has illustrated the difference Davison's approach has made to his game.
The idea is brilliant, but looking back on it now, we probably just didn't have the quality to do what we wanted to do. And that's not a disrespect to our team, that's me included. I mean, I found it was very different from Callum. Callum's obviously been here a long time. Callum, the gaffer. The gaffer's been here a long time, so he knows what he's doing, you know what I mean? He's made it more simple, I would say, you know, and he's kind of let us go off the cuff a little bit more. But for me personally, he's been absolutely brilliant. He just he leaves me alone, and that's what I need.
Who will pick up the award? All be revealed come the 5th of May here at the PFA Awards in Glasgow.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Who gets the vote for you?
Brian Graham.
Graham?
Brian Graham, you don't have to ask me that.
Yeah.
Brian Graham, got to go Brian.
Okay, we might as well all go in the Brian Graham fan club so that he keeps coming into the studio. Anyway, apart from anything else, looking forward to it on the PFA night. You looking forward to it, big man? You're not going, aren't you? Not?
No, that's what I was going to say. I was looking forward to it anyway.
Yeah.
No, I can't make it.
I think...
get asked to... No, you know.
Yeah?
You get the prize.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or our prize.
It would have been good. It's a right good night, Ruffy, isn't it?
It's brilliant. It's even better that he's not going. That's mere drinking.
That's one way to look at it. Remember, drink responsibly. Anyway, apart from anything else, enjoy your football over the weekend. Don't forget, on Sunday morning, it's McConnell meets Danny Armstrong. It's well worth watching Alison chatting to the Kilmarnock winger, who certainly has had a really good season and some great stuff from Danny to Alison. Well worth a watch. Kerry is in place tomorrow for the Premiership preview with Ruffy and Lee McCulloch. I wonder who's going to win the quiz on that one. We'll find out tomorrow. But don't forget, download the PLZ Soccer app if you can. If you can subscribe to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, you can join the football family. There's lots more content on the way. I know Lee is looking forward to a week on Sunday when we release Helicopter Sunday. It's a mini documentary into that dramatic day in 2005 when Rangers snatched the title on the last day and the helicopter changed direction. I hope you can enjoy so much of the content that we're putting out for you and you become part of our football family. From Ruffy, from Lee, from Alison, myself, Peter Martin, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.